All right, welcome back, everybody, for a new episode of Chasing Ghosts. This is the video series where I talk about those hard to find, those impossible to find comic books, those things you just don't see at your LCS every week when you go out shopping. These are things you got to do some legwork, get lucky, and do some research because not everybody has them. There are usually limited, the print runs are smaller, and they're just kind of tough things to find. Hopefully you're enjoying this series as well as everything else on the channel. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. Yes, we did just surpass our 2,500 subscriber mark and did some giveaways, but we're not stopping there. We're going to keep on rolling. We're well on our way to 2,600, on our way to 3K, and we'll give away some more stuff. Or at least I'll give away some more stuff because I don't mind giving stuff away. I got plenty here to go around. And with that all said, I got an odd selection of books for you this week. Hopefully you enjoy it. And if you want to see what I got for you, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, because I will be right back. Okay, so let's see what I got for you. Now, the first one, I'm going to kind of follow up on yesterday's Hidden Gems. If you watched it, you saw it all kind of focus in on homages to Action Comics 1. So we're going to start there with just one more because I found this book and it didn't quite fit Hidden Gems, but it fits here because it is a very tough book and it is an homage to Action Comics. And that comic book is called Super Meat Boy. Super Meat Boy #1. Yes, that indie game actually printed a couple of comics that also go along with it. I think they're kind of partial comic, partial instruction manual kind of thing, but not easy to find. These were very limited, and again, there's not that many of them. You don't see this all the time. So here's our first one. We're going to start here with Super Meat Boy #1 from September 2009, as you can see. Pretty cool homage there to Action Comics 1, just like the other ones we covered yesterday. But that's all I got for you on this one. Like, there isn't much else I can tell you about this. Apart from there were two other comics that released with Super Meat Boy as the title. This is #1 after all. And then there was an issue 2, a follow-up, and they also did a pretty cool throwback to those EC comics, those horror comics, and did that kind of deal here with Super Meat Boy #2. And this was in March of 2010. So pretty cool here. Again, fun little things that they did. And their third thing is actually number 2.5, and I think it was released with a collector's edition. This one's not so much an homage as just bright red pops. Super Meat Boy number 2.5. And those are all the Super Meat Boy comics that I got for you. But with all of them, I can't tell you what the print runs are because I don't know. And I'm going to focus it back in on #1 because, well, it's the cover I like the best out of the three. And, yeah, plus it's #1. But I don't know what the print run could be in this in total. I don't know if it's out there anywhere. Like I said, these were not easy to find. I believe I found a website where they had these limited for a while and then was like, once they're done, sold out, we'll make no more. So that was at least the deal for #1. I'm pretty sure it was probably the same for #2. And then I think #3 was released in a collector's ultimate edition of that Super Meat Boy game, I think. And again, we're never getting a solid print run number. So with that, we'll have to move on, see if there's anything in the census, which there isn't much. The only thing I found in the census was the action cover, the Action Comics #1. This says limited run video game that it was included with. So it says it was included with the game, but like I said, I saw a website that didn't say anything about the game. They were selling these separately. But all in all, there's still only 4. There's still only 4 in the census for this #1. 298s, 296s. Issue 2's got none, and then issue 2.5, I couldn't find any in there either. As far as sold, I did find one that sold. A set of the 3, actually, and that's why I put these all together. A set of the 3 sold middle of March, about a month ago, for $500. Yep, $500. Granted, for all three, but still $500 for these. No small number. As for what's available, well, we're going to look at these together, but we are kind of also looking at these individually. Out of all three of these books, I found one of the 2.5 that wants $400 and one of the number one that is at auction starting at $325 with a few days left. That's it. So there's one out there for number one, no number twos, and one out there for 2.5. And none of them are cheap, as you can see from these prices. Just weird, just interesting. And I figured I normally would say something this kind of oddball for the end of the show, but I figured we'd open with this one because it tied in with the Action Comics homage from yesterday's Hidden Gems. So that's why I put this one to the front. That said, let's get into where I would normally start. And I normally start with just some Marvel stuff. And we're going to go with Avengers Arena. Avengers Arena number one. This is going to be one of a series of 1 in 50 incentives for this run. Yeah, Avengers Arena had 1 in 50s for some reason. I don't know why, but they did. This one is a Mike Perkins cover, 1 in 50 from December 2012. Granted, the opening salvo print run isn't too bad when we look at it for that. I mean, it was 64,000. I mean, that's not terrible. That would make our 1 in 50 incentive just under 1,300, if that math is right. Again, estimated numbers, not set in stone, just based off the Comic-Con print run numbers. We do that ratio math. And again, it's a ballpark estimate. That's the best we get. There is no solid definitive number that we can grab for these. So there's our best guess. In the census, however, we do have 43 for this number one, 32 9/8, 9 9/6s, and then a couple of others. Copies sold on this number one, this 1 in 50. Well, one sold in a lot with a couple other issues for $80, and then a 9/6 sold with 2 bids for $100. Not really a super high amount, but it's also not a bargain bin type of deal. Well, I mean, it is a 1 in 50, so those prices are lower than I would have expected. But available copies, yes, there are some available. If you wanted to go look for this one, granted, the raws are looking for 100 to 125. That's a starting bid on an auction. And then there's a 9/8 looking for $875. It's a bit steep to me, but that's what's out there. Considering a 9/6 sold for $100, $875 for a 9/8 is a pretty high jump from one to the other. But we'll see what happens. Good luck to the seller, obviously. But that's what we're looking at for number one. And as I said, this is part of a series of high ratios for this run. So we'll get to number two next. Number two, pretty cool cover. A little different. Too much empty space, though, in the background. Maybe we needed a little something there. The trade dress probably would have worked better to help fill if they put that at the top instead of overlapping on the mountains below. But, yeah, that's just some layout complaints of mine. But this is a Michael Avon Oeming cover, also from December 2012. Also a 1 in 50. Print run from issue 1 dips to issue 2 to about 43,000. So our incentive here maybe about 860. In the census, this also dips down to only 14 copies with 13 9/8 and a 9/0. Weird. 1 copy sold on this one. 1 copy sold on the 1 in 50 for number 2. And it sold for only $12. $12.44 out of the UK. So once you factor in that shipping, it really was more closer to $40, but we'll just go off of the sale price, which was about $12.50. Any available? Yes, there are. There's more than the 3 that I show here, but these are available, and they're actually not that expensive. I mean, look, raw copies are asking $20 to $30 for this 1 in 50, and there's a 9/8 looking for $100. Not too bad, actually, as far as prices go. We'll move on then to number 3. Different type of cover here. I kind of like it. I like the purple sentinel in the background. It's kind of cool. It has almost like that Ben-Day dot kind of vibe with the background. This is number 3. This is also a 1 in 50. This is from January 2013. This is a Gary Brown cover. Print run drops a little bit to about 38,000. So our incentive here is sub 800 now to about 769. In the census, where we had 14 on the last one, we've only got 4 now with a single 9/8 and 3 9/6s. That's also interesting. Copies sold. Zippo. None. No copies sold in the last 3 months. And if you wanted to go buy one, well, you do have a couple of options. You actually have 4 options right now if you wanted to go shopping, and they're not too bad. 22, 25, 30, and $90. All right, 90 might be a bit much, but 22 to 30 for a 1 in 50, that's not too expensive. I kind of like this one. I kind of like this one. I don't know. Look, I think I know that top seller for that $22 one. I think it's a fellow CBSI writer, Jack Kornblatt. If I'm looking at the listing name now, I think I know who's selling that. But good luck to him. Also, I might have to buy it from him. I don't know. I kind of like it. Like I said, I like the purple. I think the Sentinel's kind of cool. But you guys know, I'm pretty much a cheap shopper when it comes to these high ratio incentives. I generally go for even cheaper than that, but still, that's under half ratio. It's not terrible. That said, that's number 3. Check it out, number 4 here. Different type of cover. Now we got Darkhawk coming into the action here. This is a Bobby Rubio cover. Also a 1 in 50. February 2013 on this one. Print runs dropping still. We're down to about 33,000. So our incentive is sub 700. So now we're looking at 672 potential copies of this one. In the census, we got one more than the last. This time we got 498s and 196 for a total of 5. But like our last book, none have sold within the last 3 months. So not a lot of shoppers for this one, despite the fact that there are a few on the market and more than the 4 I have listed here. But we'll look at the 4 I have listed, as raws are looking for 35 to 50, while the 9.8 is looking for 250 and the 9.6 is looking for about 130. Those seem about right as far as pricing goes. When I think about it, is my head like it's about ratio a little bit less. A 9.6 is a little more than double, and then a 9.8 is actually 5 times the ratio. All right. That said, that was number 4. Let's move it on to number 5. Yeah, there's 5. Not only is there 5, there's 6, and then we'll move on. We got 6 in this series. I know you guys are Avengers Arena. What's all these Avengers Arena? I thought they were weird. They were different. They have different cover artists on each. I thought they were interesting. We got another pop of red on this one. Number 5, we get that red. I kind of like it. I kind of like it. You got Sister Grimm there up front and center. This is a Joe Quinones, 1 in 50. Also February 2013. They double shipped this month like they did for number 1 and 2 back in December. Print run is down to about 32,000. So our incentive here is about 650 potential copies. In the census, we're looking at only 2 298s, and that's it. And we had one sale. We did have a sale within the last 3 months, and it was only $13.50. Hey, ANZ Con. I know who that is too. I know the seller of this one. But $13.50, not too bad. Moving on to what's available. Well, 20, 20, 15. I found 3, and they're all very, very affordable when you consider this is a 1 in 50 incentive. $15 to $20. That's not too bad at all. And like I said, I like the red personally. But last one, last Avengers Arena. Pretty cool here. I think I don't think that's Ares. I'm not sure who's on the cover of this. I haven't read this title in a while. I don't remember who was stuck on that island, but it was like a battle royale type storyline. X-23 was there. I don't remember all the characters that showed up there, but it looks like Captain Britain and it could have been Ares. I can't remember. That said, this is number 6. This is a Jorge Molina cover, 1 in 50, March of 2013 on this one. Print run dips a little bit down to about 31,000. So the incentive is only about 632. If we do that quick math. So it's going down the whole way. And this is where they stop. So number 6, they stopped. The whole run went another 6 to 8 issues, I think. I think it went up to, it might have been more than 12. I don't remember where they ended. But 632 on the incentive. CGC census, 5. And there are 5 9/8s, and that's all of them. No copies sold in the last 3 months on this one, much like those other ones. But once again, I was surprised to find there were still a few on the market. More than these 3. There was a few out there. But once again, about 25 to 30 bucks. So half ratio or so still on these. So not even that expensive. Not even that expensive. Granted, I mean, a lot goes into it. It's not just, well, it's a 150 ratio. It's automatically $50. No, it's a supply and demand thing. And yes, there aren't that many fans, I guess, of Avengers Arena. It was, again, kind of a one-off kind of storyline. It's not an ongoing title in any way. So interest there is going to be limited. Print runs weren't minuscule either, so you're not going to get those collectors dying to try to get these in their collections either. Granted, the print runs are not high, but it's not like one of those micro print runs or anything. So it's kind of in that limbo stage. And this is where I usually buy stuff like this, because you usually end up finding incentive ratios like this for like $10 and less. And those are the types of things like, well, for that price, I'll buy it. Why not? But that all said, we're done. We're done with Avengers Arena. We are now going to move into a different area to wrap this week up. And we're going to go dip into the world of George R.R. Martin. Yep, just going to dip a toe into Game of Thrones real quick. Yes, I know Hedge Knight's all in the news because they announced a new TV series going to be based off of Hedge Knight, but let's go back to OG original Game of Thrones #1. Song of Ice and Fire is the overarching title of the book series, but everybody just calls it all Game of Thrones now, even though that's just the title of the first book in that series of books. That all said, #1, couple of variants on this one. There's a 1 in 50. That's a virgin version of that Ross. It's also pretty cool. But this is the Mike Miller cover, but in virgin form. That is a 1 in 75 incentive. So 1 in 75. The highest ratio for this book. You got the the tree behind him. September 2011. Pretty cool. Print run was only about 20,000, almost 21,000. So our incentive at a 1 in 75 is down to only about 278 potential copies of this. Granted, I don't know if that number is 100% accurate. It's, again, best guess. But I got to tell you, can't be that many. Can't be that many. In the CGC census for this book, we do have 23. We have 998s, 796s, 494s, and 392s. And that's the entire population for this 1 in 75. As you might guess, no copies have sold recently. Yep, nothing sold, unfortunately, in the last 3 months. But we do got one out there. There is one listed. It is a 9.6, and it wants about $1,100. So it ain't cheap. It ain't cheap. There's one out there. If you want it, it's going to cost you. Just keep that in mind. But this is one of those things. How often are you going to see this? One of those tough books. All right, but that's all we're going to do for Game of Thrones right now. There are other high ratio incentives. We can get into those another day. Some of the other, issues within the series, and then they have those series. We have the Clash of Kings and Storm Sword, whatever. We'll get to that kind of stuff later. But for now, since, as I mentioned, Hedge Knight is the kind of the talk of the town, we're going to go to the next book, which actually made the CBSI Hot 10. This is the Hedge Knight #1. This is the convention special from 2003. I think it was limited to like 1,500 copies total for this one. So 1,500 is not a tiny number, but that is where we're at. This is also a Mike Miller cover. Pretty cool. Convention edition, July 2003. Like I said, limited to... I got ahead of myself. Yeah, limited to 1,500 on the print run. And in the census, there's only 13? 498s, 596s, and then a few others rounding that out. Kind of surprising. A lot of sales, though. With that announcement last week, I think not every copy, but I think most of the copies that were listed started getting cleared out pretty quickly because these were pretty cheap when they were out there. I mean, well, maybe not. There was more than this, and there were some cheap ones in there, but I guess these are the more recents. Like $80, $91 at auction, $200 in a lot with other #1s, and then $300. Is that a 9.4? Yeah, 9.4 best offer on $300 for this convention special. That's what's sold in the last week. Asking prices now? Well, there are a couple, more than these three. But yeah, basically it's kind of settled in on that $60 to $80 kind of range, raw. That's kind of where I saw a lot of listings. Here we got 70, 85, starting bid at $44 with a buy now at 59. Like, okay, it's cheap no longer because of the announcement. The announcement drove this one. So here we go. Image #1, convention special, 1,500 copies. There it is. So ain't quite a ghost because there's more than these three. That's just the three examples. But let's move on. If you know, or I don't know if you knew this or not, but there was actually a follow-up miniseries. This started off as a miniseries of 6 issues. Image had the first 3, and then Devil's Due picked up and finished off the last 3 under their Dabble Brothers or whatever imprint. So it was 6 issues for that first run. Then there was a second mini for Sworn Sword. That was the second series of comics. Issue 1 of that series also had incentive variants, starting with this. This is the 1 in 10. This is by Lionel Francis Yu. This is a 1 in 10 incentive, June of 2007. Again, pretty cool cover. I like this, knight, shield, got the lance. Pretty cool, right? Print run on this, it's about 12,000. So at a 1 in 10, which is what this incentive was, there'd still be about 1,200 copies of this potentially out there. In the CGC census, man, I'm getting all tongue-tied all of a sudden. Only 2. Both 9/8, but only 2. Interesting. Sold copies, I found 1. Granted, I know this isn't the first appearance of the Hedge Knight. This is the second series, but I did find 1 sale of this, and it was way back in February, and it was 1 bid on a 99-cent auction. Granted, I probably should have looked this up because it may not have been 99 cents. It may have been an accepted best offer that was more than that, but we can say it's still a few months ago. February 17th was a long time ago now. Well before any announcement, and none sold since. As far as what options there are, well, there are only 2. So we'll just put that there too. Like, there's only 2 options. Granted, one is looking for only $4 starting bid. It's not a buy now. It's an auction. So starting at $4 for this 1 in 10. And then there is a you pick the comic. Yeah, you know those listings, they list everything. This actually is listed as $20. So this is the $20 one there, this 1 in 10. So buy it now for $20. Start an auction at $4. The only 2 out there. But there's still 2 out there. And this is the 1 in 10, which will lead us into the last issue here for it, which is the 1 in 20. But first, before we get to that, let me show you the regular cover, which is right here. I believe this is also a Miller cover. You can see the little flag there. Again, I guess the Dabble Brothers. I don't know if you're saying it right, but Marvel eventually ended up owning all of these. So this is under the Marvel imprint at this point. But the 1 in 20 is actually a black and white version of this cover here. So, boom, there you go. That's the 1 in 20, the highest ratio incentive, which, again, if we do all that math, this is the 1 in 20, June 2007. Mike Miller, not the knock knock. Remember that Flyer song? Well, that was the Flyer seat. Anyway, don't want to get into that. Print run about 12,000, so the incentive on a 1 in 20 would be about 600. All right, still not a terribly high number. Census only has 5, all 9/8 for the sketch cover, black and white cover, whatever you want to call it. No copies have sold. None. And surprisingly, there are a few available. And they are all very cheap. $10, $13, $15. They're all well under ratio for this 1 in 20. Granted, I'm not a huge fan of the black and white, but there it is. They're all very, very cheap when you consider it. Like, the print run's not very high. It's an odd title. Granted, it's not the first. It's the second volume of Hedge Knight, but still, I found it interesting, and I find the prices interesting as well. But there are copies. So, with that said, I don't think we can put that in a Ghost. I don't think we can put many of these in a Ghost, actually. So when we go and look at our rundown now for this week, after all these books that I showed you, all those Avengers Arena and all these Game of Thrones type books and whatnot, most of these are all just hard to find because all of the Avengers Arena, all 6 of them, and all of the Hedge Knight books all have copies. Granted, people are trying to cash in on the popularity and the news of the Hedge Knight, so more copies got listed, I believe. But the Avengers Arena, there are copies out there, multiple copies. So we'll have to call all of these hard to find, which leaves us with that one Game of Thrones 1 in 75, as well as all 3 Super Meat Boy books, because some of those things are just, impossible to find. We're going to call those 4 our Ghosts. Why? Well, Super Meat Boy 1 only had 1 copy available. 2.5 had 1 copy. No copies for number 2 of Super Meat Boy. And then the Game of Thrones 1 in 75 had 1 copy as well. And granted, price $1,100. It's not about the price. The point is, 1 or none is where we'll put the Ghost tag on it. And all of these had either 1 or none. And that's what we got for you this week. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Let me know if you have any of these, especially the ones that got that ghost tag. If you have, tag me on Instagram, share with the community, but share with me in particular because I'm kind of curious. I love seeing, like I said, your guys' collections as well. And with that all said, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for the support for the channel. Again, we're still trying to grow. We're still trying to expand and to go on to bigger and better things and get more content coming your way. I have more shorts planned. I do these things in chunks. So today, over this past weekend, I had some spare time, and I like making the shorts. They're mostly cover run things, but I've made shorts running all the way in up and through beginning of May. So I'm all set. We got some Guardian stuff coming your way in the coming weeks. Star Wars on the weekends. A lot of fun things. I don't know. I just find it fun to make those little things. So hopefully you're checking them out and enjoying them. But other than that, we still have content on this channel every day. Every day. Whether it's not all just me. I'm on here most days. But make sure this is Tuesday. Chasing Ghosts on Tuesday. Everybody else got to see my Wednesday watch list today, but members got to see it on Monday, along with Hidden Gems on Monday. Tax Show we will be doing live tomorrow with me, Marco, and Dub. And I don't know if Corbin's going to swing back by or anybody else might drop by for a guest. I think we might be doing Silver Age again. Do another group of Silver Age from the Overstreet. I'm not positive, but I think that's what we're going to do. As well as spin that wheel for the giveaway. Don't forget. Don't forget the giveaway. And then we're going to have Dollar Bin Digging on Thursday. Mail Call Madness on Friday, live with Dom and Jedi, and Styx has been joining them lately. Friday nights live at 9. Saturday night special. Saturdays live at 7. Tales from the Dark Side live on Sundays, about 9:15. And then we started all over again. And like I said, mixed in there, I got some members first content with the Wednesday watch list hitting for members on Monday, everybody else Tuesdays, and then my top 10 and 10, which are the top 10 comics on the market for that week. That's chosen by me. But if you notice, like, I'm giving you kind of the same books you're seeing on those other lists, but you're getting my list kind of early. So if you remember, you get it even earlier because you'll get it on Thursday, where everybody else will get it early on Friday. But that all said, I mean, it's just the market. I don't make the market. I'm just reporting what I see. And with that all said, thanks for all the support. Thanks for stopping by and checking this out. I appreciate it. And I'll be back soon with more content every day here on Rennavision. All right, later.